Welcome to the DAZN Boxing Show presented by DraftKings. I'm Chris Mannix. He is the Latin Snake, Sergio Mora. And Sergio, we have a big one in Poland this weekend. 3 pieces of the heavyweight title are on the line when Oleksandr Usyk takes on Daniel Dubois. This will be something of a homecoming fight for Usyk, who has been a road warrior for a very long time. And Dubois, it will be his chance to pick up a heavyweight title 4 fights removed from a knockout loss to Joe Joyce. So, who do you like in this one, Usyk or Dubois?
I like Oleksandr Usyk by knockout, Mannix. I really think that Dubois, we've already seen flashes of him not being able to adapt when he's hurt. He's a big, strong, dangerous, dynamite puncher. But once he starts getting backed up and touched up, like we have seen, even in his last fight against a nobody, an unheralded fighter, he was able to get dropped and hurt and put on the back foot. He doesn't fight like a big man. I mean, he's one of these extremely big, gigantic heavyweights, but he doesn't fight like one. And he already got cracked here. So similarities to him and Anthony Joshua, where I just don't see him getting over that physical beatdown that he already got on the hands of Joe Joyce with his eye, and then in his last fight with Kevin Lerena, where he injured his ACL. So injuries, the lack of mental focus, he's going to have his hands full with one of the best fighters of our generation.
Yeah, I like Usyk in this fight as well. And when I think about this matchup, I'm reminded a little bit of something Brian McIntyre, the trainer for Terrence Crawford, said after his win over Errol Spence. He said that PBC and Errol Spence allowed Crawford to grow into a welterweight body. They allowed him to fill out organically. And that was a problem for Errol Spence because Crawford really was a full-fledged welterweight at that time, whereas 3 or 4 years before, maybe he would still be a 140-pounder kind of coming up in weight. I feel the same way right now about Oleksandr Usyk. A few fights ago, back when he was fighting Chaz Witherspoon or back when he was fighting Derek Chisora, then maybe he was vulnerable. But over the last few fights, specifically the last 2 against Anthony Joshua, we have seen Usyk grow into a full-fledged welterweight. He is no longer the former cruiserweight champion. He is the heavyweight champion. And even though he's not 250, 260, he is a legit heavyweight at this point. I think that's going to be just too much for Daniel Dubois to handle. Usyk's going to be strong. He's going to be fast. He's going to be more technical. He's going to be motivated taking this fight near his home country of the Ukraine. Sergio, we talk about Usyk as a road warrior. Go down his list of previous fights. He hasn't fought a true hometown fight or a fight where he was the home fighter since 2015. It's almost 10 years since he has not gone into someone's backyard and won a significant fight. So I think there's going to be a lot of motivation on the side of Oleksandr Usyk to look good in a fight like this. But if you were training Daniel Dubois, if you were advising Daniel Dubois, how would he win this fight? What would be the strategy to beat Oleksandr Usyk?
Well, if I was in the corner of Daniel Dubois, I'll be his 5th trainer. And that's another red flag right there, man. Just like Joshua, when he got clipped and beat down, he started looking around, going from trainer to trainer. You don't build chemistry doing that. So Dubois already had a handful of trainers. He's already had 2 major injuries with a Joe Joyce eye, and now in his last fight with an ACL. I mean, this is a fighter who's already been stopped. He's already bouncing from trainer to trainer. And then in his last fight, he got dropped. I didn't like the way he reacted. A big man like that shouldn't be boxing on the back foot. But if I was in his corner, I mean, every boxer is going to tell you the exact same thing. You have that long reach. You have that power. Use your speed. Use your speed. Instead of just looking for that big power punch, control the fight with the jab. Don't let Usyk use your angles on you. And you can stop that by jabbing at the chest. You know, going to the body of Usyk. Usyk has a habit of blocking his punches just like this. That's his defense. Take advantage of that, man. Beat away at the gloves. As long as the gloves are protecting himself, then you're getting points. Usyk's not going to be able to retaliate. And if Dubois is able to do that, step back and then box behind the jab, those are points. Those are round in the bags. If he can go into the second half of the fight, he might have a chance to land that big right hand. But I just don't see it.
Yeah, look, there's only been 2 times in Oleksandr Usyk's career as a heavyweight that I've seen opponents have success. One was in the first few rounds against Derek Chisora, when Chisora was physical, and Chisora took the fight to Usyk, and I think he gave him some problems in the first few rounds of that fight before Chisora ran out of gas and just couldn't be that same fighter in the second half. And then I believe it was the 9th round in the second fight against Anthony Joshua, when Joshua finally connected on a big shot, and then he was the bully in that fight. He was the one forcing Usyk to fight off his back foot and be more defensive. I don't think you can beat Usyk just fighting off the jab. Even if you've got a good jab, which Dubois does have, I just don't think you can land it enough against a fighter with such great footwork and such great head movement and such great defense during a fight like Usyk has. I think you've got to, if you're Dubois, try to use whatever size or strength advantage you may have and take the fight directly to Usyk. Now, it's a dangerous idea because Usyk is strong enough to hurt you, as he did with Joshua in the first fight, and strong enough to knock you out, which Dubois has been knocked out before. But I just think that's the only strategy, to be physical with Usyk.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen because he doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with Usyk and the angles and that southpaw angle. Another thing, Lorena was a southpaw, and he was able to clip and knock down Dubois with an overhand left. I mean, Usyk was catching Joshua with that overhand left and then peppering him with that jab going downstairs. That punch is going to be open again for Dubois. I just don't like the way he's been acting every time he gets chin checked, and he's in with one of the best fighters, maybe the greatest cruiserweight since Evander Holyfield, and a legitimate heavyweight, as you pointed out. I mean, he's a sniper, he's a southpaw, he has all that amateur experience, he's confident in his power now, the angles, the speed, way too much for Dubois, who, in my opinion, even though he's a big, imposing fighter physically, mentally, I just think he's not mature enough to deal with a sniper and a fighter as educated as Usyk.
All right, let me ask you one other thing, though, about this fight. You're picking Usyk by knockout. I'm taking Usyk by decision, in part because this is a hometown kind of fight. The crowd is going to be there largely to support Oleksandr Usyk. And we've seen in the past, Sergio, the very recent past, that hometown fights can have an impact on guys. There can be a little more pressure when you're fighting in front of your quote-unquote own crowd. Do you think that's a variable in this fight?
No, it's not going to be a variable because you still have to face the guy that's fighting you. And then Usyk's been all over the world, the road warrior, like you like to say. And when it comes to Dubois, just too much pressure, mental pressure. Like I said, similarities to AJ there. Bouncing from trainer to trainer, not being sure of yourself, not letting go of that right hand, boxing off your back foot like you were in your last fight, getting dropped. These are way too many red flags, Mannix. I don't like Dubois in this fight. I don't even think it goes into the second half of the fight, Mannix. I'll be honest with you. I think Usyk stops Dubois.
Oh, it's always fun, though. We've got good heavyweight action. We've got good heavyweight action in Poland this weekend. Well, for the latest odds, make sure you check out DraftKings. And remember, gamble responsibly.